Welcome back to today's video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a realistic future 2028 matchup in the presidential election of 2028. And the reason why I say realistic is because this actually may end up being the 2028 election with these two nominees on opposite parties, Nikki Haley for Republican nominee and Gavin Newsom on the Democratic side. Because you actually take a look at the 2024 odds, Gavin Newsom comes in third place behind Trump and Biden. And then you take a look at who's right behind Gavin Newsom in fourth place. That's Nikki Haley. So if you actually throw out Trump and Biden, Gavin Newsom is the favored to actually be the next president of the United States. And then right behind Gavin Newsom is you have the Republican candidate, Nikki Haley. So both Nikki Haley and Gavin Newsom are the top two favorites to win the 2024 election if counting out Trump and Biden. If you, in fact, eliminate Trump and Biden from the 2024 election, Gavin Newsom and Nikki Haley, both have the greatest odds at being the next president, either Newsom or Haley. And I think this would happen in the 2028 election. We could very well see a 2028 Nikki Haley Republican ticket versus a 2028 Gavin Newsom Democratic ticket. Because like I just mentioned, if you throw out Trump and Biden, it's Newsom and Haley. That's the facts. It's Newsom and Haley if you take out Trump and Biden. Let's say Trump decides not to run because the indictments get in his way, which obviously won't happen. He's out, okay. Let's say Biden doesn't run because of old age. Okay, he's out. Or mental decline. He's out. It's Nikki Haley and Gavin Newsom. Those are the two frontrunners. So yes, I'm explaining why this is realistic. Gavin Newsom has 614 odds in the 2024 election. Compared to Nikki Haley, she's trailing Gavin Newsom. But she is ahead of everybody else. So Nikki Haley is even ahead of Ron DeSantis. So a Newsom versus Haley's ticket in 2028 is very realistic, and this is going to be a realistic 2028 election prediction between Gavin Newsom and Nikki Haley. So, as you guys may know, Gavin Newsom debated Ron DeSantis, and we all know how that went, if you watched it or if you didn't. So let's begin with this prediction. So, as for Colorado and New Mexico, the likely states for Gavin Newsom, those will be the likely states for him. I don't see Nikki Haley doing well in either Colorado or New Mexico. I think Gavin Newsom pretty much has the clear advantage in those states, especially Colorado. Maybe Nikki Haley has a shot to make New Mexico a little bit closer than Colorado would be, but I still don't see it. So Gavin Newsom will comfortably win both Colorado and New Mexico by likely margins. And now, the likely states for Nikki Haley will be the state of Florida and obviously Ohio or Alaska. Those are the three likely states. And obviously Maine 2nd Congressional District for Nikki Haley. Florida is a lost cause for Democrats. I don't think Gavin Newsom can perform very well in Florida. I think Nikki Haley will do extremely well in the Sunbelt state of Florida. I think she will be very approved in there, and she is pretty good. And I think she will win Florida by a likely comfortable margin of around 7 to 8 points. And then as for Ohio, I think Nikki Haley might actually overperform Donald Trump in Ohio. She is very moderate on issues like abortion. I think she can appeal to some of those voters, and I think she will outperform Trump in Ohio, and it could arguably be safe for Nikki Haley. As we all know, Ohio is a state that has shifted away from the Democratic Party, has trended towards the right. So Ohio is an up-and-coming, safe Republican state, soon to be safe for the Republicans, and I think Nikki Haley comfortably wins the state of Ohio. And now, we've got every single likely state out of the way. Now, moving on to the lean states. Lean states for Gavin Newsom. I think Michigan will be lean for Gavin Newsom. I don't think Nikki Haley will perform that well in the Rust Belt. Obviously, Gavin Newsom is a West Coast guy, so he might not even perform well in the Rust Belt, but I still think Gavin Newsom would slightly be better than Nikki Haley when it comes to the Rust Belt. In terms of messaging, I don't know. Nikki Haley is unproven, obviously, so I don't think she can crack those blue collar worker voters. If Nikki Haley is able to get those blue collar worker voters on her side, the hard working class, then she very well can win these Rust Belt states. But as far as Michigan goes, I think Michigan will vote for Gavin Newsom in 2028 in this matchup scenario by a lean margin of around 2 to 3 percentage points. So that's one lean state for Gavin Newsom. Another lean state for Gavin Newsom would be New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a very pro-choice state. While Nikki Haley does good on abortion issues because she is very moderate, Nikki Haley is way more moderate on abortion than Donald Trump is. Nikki Haley is way more moderate on abortion than especially Ron DeSantis is. So I think Nikki Haley actually has a shot at New Hampshire, and she very well can make it close and competitive, maybe flip the state, but I think Gavin Newsom will narrowly win the state of New Hampshire by around 3 percentage points. But I think Nikki Haley can keep it close because, like I mentioned, I think Nikki Haley is one of those few Republican candidates that can actually do good in a state like New Hampshire. I think she will shock a lot of people, and she will make New Hampshire very close. I think Nikki Haley will perform well in New Hampshire, but I just don't think it will be enough to help her win the state. But I think she will do good. And then another lean state for Gavin Newsom will be the state of Minnesota. Yet again, I think Nikki Haley can perform well in the suburbs, the rural area parts of Minnesota, but when it comes to Minneapolis and some of these cities, I just don't see her doing well. I think Gavin Newsom will win the state of Minnesota by around 5 percentage points, lean margin. Another lean state for Gavin Newsom, we have quite a few lean states for Gavin Newsom, will be the state of Virginia. Just like New Hampshire, I think Nikki Haley actually surprises a lot of people actually, and she keeps the state of Virginia very close. She could flip it. She will come close to flipping it, but I think she will fall short. So I think Gavin Newsom wins Virginia by around 5%. And she's from South Carolina, and Gavin Newsom is far away from Virginia. He's from the West Coast yet again, cross country. So, like I said, I think Nikki Haley can come close to winning Virginia. She will keep it close. I think she will perform extremely well. I think Nikki Haley will do good in Virginia, but like I mentioned, just like in New Hampshire, it will not be enough to flip the state. I think Gavin Newsom wins it by a lean margin. And then that is all the lean states for Gavin Newsom. And now the lean states for Nikki Haley, those states include Texas, Georgia, and North Carolina. Those will be the lean states for Nikki Haley. Let's start with Texas. I think Nikki Haley will do pretty good in Texas. Will she overperform Trump? I don't think so, but she still will do enough to win the state of Texas by a lean margin of around 5 to 6 points. I think she'll get similar margins to maybe McCain and Trump did, maybe 6%. I don't think she'll do anything special. I still think she will win Texas. I don't think Gavin Newsom will have enough in him to flip a state like Texas. It's just too much. Now, when it comes to 2028, Texas might actually be flippable for the Democratic Party. So, if Gavin Newsom flips Texas, it will shock some people. But keep in mind, in 2028, Texas is slowly trending towards the left. But I still don't think it will be enough for Gavin Newsom. So I think Texas goes to Nikki Haley by a lean margin. And then for Georgia, I think if Nikki Haley can win over the Brian Kemp support, like I mentioned, Brian Kemp will be around in 2028, but he still is around currently right now. And I think Nikki Haley will do good because, like I mentioned, Brian Kemp is strongly approved of in the state of Georgia. He won his other term in 2022 by 7 percentage points, defeating Stacey Abrams twice in a row. So, with that being said, I think Georgians would like Nikki Haley, and I think she will win by a lean margin. I don't think Gavin Newsom can do anything to win the state of Georgia. And I don't think Gavin Newsom can win over the African American voter group in Georgia. And if he can, it'll probably help him win the state, but I don't think he's going to do that. So with that being said, I see Georgia going to Nikki Haley by a lean margin of around 4 percentage points. Keep in mind, Georgia borders the state of South Carolina, and I think that's the area Nikki Haley will do good in these type of states. North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, I think Nikki Haley will outperform Gavin Newsom in because she is from that area. So I just mentioned North Carolina. I think Nikki Haley does very well in North Carolina. She is from the Carolinas, so I imagine she would be highly approved there. And so, yeah, I think Nikki Haley would beat Gavin Newsom in North Carolina by around 3 percentage points lead margin. I don't think Gavin Newsom pretty much has it in him, like I mentioned earlier, to win a state like North Carolina, to win a state like Texas. I just don't think Gavin Newsom would do that. He won't flip North Carolina. If Biden can't do it, Gavin Newsom can't do it. Like, think of it as that. If Biden can't win North Carolina, you think Gavin Newsom would do it? No. So, and then that's all the lean states for Nikki Haley. You can arguably say Arizona is a lean for Nikki Haley, but I'll talk about that later. And then now moving on to the tilt states. Every single gray state remaining, every single state remaining that we have not filled out yet will either be tilt for Gavin Newsom or tilt for Nikki Haley. So we only have tilt states left to fill out. And now one tilt state for Gavin Newsom will be the state of Pennsylvania. Similar to Michigan, in terms of messaging, I don't know if Nikki Haley can get the working class voters on her side. I think they will tilt narrowly for Gavin Newsom on his side. Obviously, Haley will not perform well in the Rust Belt, and guess what? Neither will Gavin Newsom, but I still think he has the edge. I still think when it comes to the Rust Belt voters, they won't like either Haley or Newsom at all. They just won't like any of them, but I think if they had to choose one, they would probably pick Newsom over Haley, because she is more of a rural type of candidate. She performs well in the rural area, but she doesn't in terms of big cities. Now, in one issue, I think she does very well in is abortion. So, if she can be very moderate on abortion, I think she can do good in Pennsylvania, but it's not going to be enough to win. So, I do think Gavin Newsom wins 2 Rust Belt states so far. Those include Michigan and Pennsylvania. And then another tilt state for Gavin Newsom would probably be the state of Nevada. Like I said, Nevada borders California. So obviously Gavin Newsom, I think, can do very well in states like Nevada, because he is from the western part of the United States, while Nikki Haley is across country on the eastern part. So if Nikki Haley is from South Carolina, obviously I don't think she will do good in Nevada. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about 2028. 2028, expect Nevada to be a red leaning state, obviously. Expect it. And Donald Trump can very well win it in 2024, but we're talking about 2028, where Nevada is trending to the right. So Nikki Haley can very well get it done. Now, maybe she can win it, maybe not. I want to keep a toss-up, but if I had to pick one, I would slightly say Gavin Newsom as of right now. And we have 2 more states to fill out. Those are Wisconsin and Arizona. I think Nikki Haley is the favored to win Arizona. I think Nikki Haley will do very well in Arizona, and I think she will win it. I think she will beat Gavin Newsom in Arizona. Arizona is could be the deciding factor of the 2024 election and elections to come, but especially 2024. And we're talking about 2028. And I think Nikki Haley is the right candidate. I think Nikki Haley is the right candidate that Republicans should run with if they want to win states like Arizona. As we all know, Arizona does not like populist Republicans like Donald Trump. So, if they can run someone who's not a populist Republican, like Nikki Haley, more of a traditional style Republican, then I think she could do good in Arizona. And I think Nikki Haley, in fact, will win the state of Arizona, helping Republicans to get closer to 270 electoral votes. And then the last and final state, Wisconsin. This will be the deciding factor. This will, in fact, be the tipping point state. Whoever wins Wisconsin wins the 2028 election in this scenario, which is Haley versus Newsom. And I'm going to have to give the edge to Gavin Newsom. I think he wins the 2028 election versus Nikki Haley with 276 electoral votes to Haley's 262. I think she falls a little bit short, but she keeps the election close. Gavin Newsom barely passes 270, and he narrowly wins the election. That's how I see it. I think Wisconsin goes to Newsom by a tilt margin. Like I said, I don't think people in Wisconsin they won't like Newsom. Obviously, Newsom is unpopular in the Rust Belt, so Newsom is not going to be he's not going to be strong on the Rust Belt. That's what I'm trying to say. But the reason why I have him winning all 3 Rust Belt states, Nikki Haley can obviously win Wisconsin. I think if she had to win one, it will probably be Wisconsin over Michigan or Pennsylvania. But the reason why I have Nikki Haley not running a single Rust Belt state, the reason why is because I don't think she has the right messaging to, to win those working class voters. And neither Gavin Newsom does. I'm not trying to give him credit. I think Gavin Newsom will not perform well in the Rust Belt. But I just think he will slightly be better than Haley. That's what I'm trying to say. So, with that being said, I think Newsom defeats Haley. I mean, she could definitely win.